Hey, what's up everyone? This is Zach, and I am here with a list video for you guys. Now for this list, I'll be going over some underrated rock and metal albums that released in the 2000s. Now keep in mind this list is in no particular order, and I have about 7 albums here to go over with you guys that I find pretty underrated. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I think the first one we'll start with is from the band Asia. Now, I think just generally speaking, Asia is a pretty underrated band. They're not really a band that gets talked about a whole lot. I mean, really, their only big album was their first album. But after that, I don't know what happened, but I think that they've released solid albums even after their debut, including this one. Now, this album here is from the John Payne era, which I think is honestly the better era. At least in my opinion, it's the better era of Asia. I do like John Payne's vocals more than John Wetton's vocals. I mean, John Wetton does have a good voice, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. There's just something about John Payne's voice that I just find more fascinating, you could say. I just think he has more emotion and he just delivers more and he just does things vocally that I like more. But this is from his era of the band, and of course, the album that's on this list is Asia's album Aura, which I believe released in 2001. Now, I know for some fans of Asia, this album would probably rank pretty low in their Asia rankings, but not for me. Actually, I think that this is one of their best, or just at least one of my favorites from the band. I really dig this album a lot. There's a lot of great tracks on here, such as Awake, which is a pretty solid opening track. Wherever You Are, which is definitely one of my favorite Asia songs. I really love the melodies of that song. It's a song that I can never get sick of. Ready to Go Home, which is one of the most emotional songs from Asia, I would say. Forgive Me, which is a pretty unique song from the band, I would say. You also have Free, which is also pretty unique and more on the lengthy side too. So I do dig the song Free. You're the Stranger is not too bad. And then Come Make My Day, I do like as well. But all in all, Aura by Asia, really solid release from the band. Definitely underrated, definitely doesn't get a lot of attention from Asia fans. Again, when a lot of people rank the albums, this ranks pretty low, but not for me. This would probably be within my top 5 Asia albums, to be honest. Yeah, I think the album is that good. So, Aura, really good album from Asia. So this next album here is from thrash metal legends Megadeth. And I do like the 2000s era of Megadeth. Not as strong as the 80s and 90s era of Megadeth, but I do like the 2000s Megadeth material for the most part. So the album that I went for as being their most underrated album in the 2000s is their album, The System Has Failed. And I've always liked this album. I've always thought that this album was kind of underrated. I mean, it doesn't get talked about a whole lot within the Megadeth fan base or just the thrash metal fan base. Now, this was a pretty interesting time for Megadeth too, and Dave Mustaine himself, because I believe that there was some drama going around at this time in the band. But I do like this album. I mean, there's maybe a couple of songs on this album that I would say are filler. That's really my only complaint with the album is you could have taken a few songs out and it probably would have worked better, but I still do like the album. It's still a pretty good album. Blackmail the Universe is a pretty solid opening track. Die Dead Enough, really good song as well. Kick the Chair, The Scorpion. And Something That I'm Not, which I believe that song is directed towards Metallica. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I've heard. But correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. But I believe that was directed towards Metallica. All in all, just a very solid release from Megadeth. I mean, it's a very solid 2000s Megadeth album, I would say. And if you're someone that listened to it, you weren't a fan of it, I'd say give it another chance. I'd say it's worthy of another chance. It's actually a pretty good album from Megadeth. I mean, yeah, this album will come nowhere near Rust in Peace or Peace Sells But Who's Buying or even Countdown to Extinction, but still a good album. a good album for what it is. So The System Has Failed by Megadeth. All right, so next we've got an album from Fear Factory. Now, Fear Factory is another band that, just generally speaking, I think is underrated. But this is definitely one of their most underrated albums, and that would be their album Archetype, which I think is definitely a very solid release from the band. Really good one for sure. The title track, definitely one of my favorites on here. You also got Drones, Human Shields, just lots of heavy and just raw sounding stuff on this album for sure. Just really heavy material. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely give this a listen. So Fear Factory's Archetype, definitely very good. Is it their best album? No, I would not say so. This album would probably rank closer to the middle if I rank their albums, but still very strong release from Fear Factory, Archetype. So next, this album here is from the band Demon Hunter. Definitely a very good band. I've seen this band live a few years ago, and for those that don't know, they've released a new song recently, I'm Done, and that song has been getting better with more listens. I still really do enjoy that song. But the album that I chose from Demon Hunter as what I believe is their most underrated in the 2000s would, of course, be their first album, the self-titled Demon Hunter. And definitely Demon Hunter at their most raw. I mean, this is when Demon Hunter was very nu metal. I mean, this is definitely their most nu metal sounding album. You can definitely tell they've taken a lot of things from Slipknot and Korn and maybe a few other bands as well. Very good stuff for sure. So if you do like those bands, I'd say give this one a listen. It is a short album too. It's not a very long album, which, you know, is fine by me. You know, I'd rather have an album that's too short than an album that's, say, full of filler. But I do like this album. It's pretty heavy, and this is, of course, during the, you know, peak of metalcore in the early 2000s. But lots of great stuff on this album. Screams of the Undead, I Have Seen Where It Grows, and of course you have the lead single off here, Infected, definitely a great song. When I saw Demon Hunter live, they played that song, and it was fun seeing them play that song live in particular. My Throat is an Open Grave, pretty good ballad from the band. I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of their best ballads, but it's definitely a good one, I would say. Through the Black is also really good. And Turn Your Back and Run, which I think is maybe one of Demon Hunter's most underrated songs. I really do like that one, but yeah, again, some heavy stuff, some just brutal material on here. Before this album, Ryan Clark had Training for Utopia, and you can kind of tell he was using the similar guttural vocals on this album, at least to some extent. But all in all, Demon Hunter's debut, definitely very solid. I wouldn't say it's their best album. If I were to rank the Demon Hunter albums, that album would probably be closer to the middle, but a good album still. So next, we have an album from the band Filter. Filter, another very good band. And the album that I chose from Filter that I believe is their most underrated within the 2000s is The Amalgamate. And this album here didn't do as well as their first two albums, which, I mean, I guess I can kind of get, but at the same time, I really dig this album. I think that this has some of Filter's best material. You Walk Away probably being one of their best opening tracks, in my opinion. A really great song, and maybe even one of my favorite Filter songs as well. Where Do We Go From Here? It's a very accessible, easy to listen to kind of song. I do dig that song. Definitely a good one. You also have The Missing, which is more on the ballad side of things, but I do like that song. The Only Way Is the Wrong Way, another good track. So I Quit is also really good too. But all in all, very solid album from Filter, The Amalgamate. Again, I dig this album, and I would say it is one of their best. So there you have it. Okay, so next we have an album from the band Korn. Korn is a really good band for sure. Definitely one of the most legendary bands in nu metal. And for those that don't know, a couple years ago, I actually got to meet Brian Head Welch. He was actually speaking somewhere, and I got to meet with him after, he was done speaking to an audience. And it was just really cool, really cool. And he seemed like a really cool guy too. But yeah, I do like Korn. And this album here, I think, is really good. And I think it's kind of underrated. And the album that I chose is Take a Look in the Mirror. And I do like the 2000s era of Korn. I think that this is when Korn really got heavy with their sound and everything. Probably one of their heaviest albums too. Lots of great stuff on this album, like Right Now. Right Now is definitely a great opening track. Breaks Them Off, pretty good too. Counting on Me. You also have Did My Time, great song. You also got You All Want a Single, which is just another fun song from Korn, but great album for sure, and I would say it's underrated. So Take a Look in the Mirror by Korn, definitely a good one. For whatever reason, there's some fans that don't like this album, and I don't know why, but I would say if you're a fan of Korn and you didn't like this at first, give it another listen. Please give this another listen. It's actually good, so please give it a listen. It's actually a good album. So the last album for this list is from the band POD. POD, really good nu metal band as well. Really do like these guys. And I would say that this is probably their most underrated album in the 2000s. And that album is the self-titled, which I think is just a really strong album with a lot of great songs on it. Some great songs would be, of course, Wildfire, Will You, Change the World, Execute the Sounds, which is maybe one of my favorite POD tracks. Freedom Fighters is also good. The Reasons I do like as well. I and Identify, another solid track. But yeah, I mean, it's a very strong album overall. I really do like POD's self-titled. So if you like nu metal, and if you like music that combines rock/metal with rap, I would say POD is definitely a band you need to check out. And this album here, the self-titled, it's a really strong release from them. So POD, definitely good stuff. So that's my video, guys. That is my list of underrated rock and metal albums from the 2000s. Let me know what you think. Do you think that I've missed any? Feel free to let me know what you think. So with that said, thank you all for watching. Take care and have a good one.